UFC White House happened last night, and after all the stuff that happened and changed, I wanted to kind of just go through some of the rankings and talk about fights that should be happening next or what makes sense to happen when the updates to the rankings happen this Tuesday. And just kind of talk about what could be next for certain fighters, especially the ones that fought, won, and lost at the White House card, and really changed up what is happening in the UFC right now because this was a massive moment and is a turning point for the future, especially if certain other fights later on this year go certain ways. So, first off, starting with um we'll just start with it. Diego Lopez. Well, no, you know what? We'll come back to him cuz he could change up in lightweight. Um Lightweight division got changed up massively. Ilya Topuria gets beaten by Justin Gaethje. Justin Gaethje becomes the world champion. Ilya does not deserve an immediate rematch. I'm gonna say that right now. I don't think he deserves one. He hasn't defended this belt at all. He hasn't been a long reigning champion. Total really. So, and it was kind of a one-sided beatdown towards the end. So, yes, do I think eventually he can get to a rematch? Yeah, but I think this will be kind of a thing he has to work towards still. So, looking at this division, and they said he has a small orbital fracture, so there's no surgery required. So he might not be out for like a full year, but probably a good 7 months. So he might not fight this year. Maybe if anything, very end of the year in December. If he gets back in there real quick, but there's some certain fights that I'm interested in seeing, so I'm just gonna run through certain fights in the lightweight division and kind of match make some people. So Michael Chandler, he lost. He's probably going to fight somebody outside of the rankings. He should have probably retired. Quillen Selkilde at number 12. He just beat Beneil Dariush. He wanted to fight against Mateusz Gamrot at number 7. Make that fight. It makes sense. Rafael Fiziev is fighting Manuel Torres in like 2 weeks. Mauricio Rufy gets the knockout over Michael Chandler. He was already 9 in the rankings, but he was tied with Moicano at number 9. I think he should be above Moicano right now. And as far as what they give him, I think maybe the loser of Benoit versus Patty, or maybe they give him an Armin if Armin doesn't get the next title shot, even though I think Armin probably will. Rufy, his next fight could go based on certain who would win this, who wins this. Maybe if they have to, make him versus Dan Hooker. That could be another fight where he could just get some experience on his belt, hold him, to hold him over, gets him up in the rankings a little bit more, but yeah, that's kind of where I'm going with that. Moicano, same thing. You could give him to Dan Hooker versus Moicano, or Moicano could fight somebody below him in the rankings. Um, Maybe like a Tom Nolan or something. But then Gamrot, I think, should be fighting Quillen Selkilde. Paddy Pimblett versus Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, this is an interesting one because these two are already fighting. We know that on the July 11th card, the same card as Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor, which, yes, that fight is at welterweight, but that still has implications for this division, especially now. Now that Justin is the world champion. So, Benoit versus Paddy, I don't think the winner of that gets a title shot. I think that was kind of what this was being worked on, was if Ilya won, he was going to move up to lightweight or to welterweight to fight Islam, and then Armin versus Charles is going to be for the vacant, and then the winner of Benoit versus Paddy was probably going to get the title shot. Was going to be a number one contenders match for an Armin versus Charles. And now it looks like, I think Benoit versus Paddy, the winner of that could probably be the person that fights Ilya Topuria, or the winner of that could be the person that fights an Armin Sarukian, or Armin could be fighting Ilya. But as far as what's going to happen in this division, I think they're going to wait until the Max Holloway versus Conor McGregor card. I think if Conor McGregor wins against Max Holloway and gets on the mic and calls out Justin Gaethje for the title, because Conor McGregor has shown interest in it now, saying that Max Holloway slept out Gaethje, which he did. Holloway put a beating on Gaethje, and then if Conor can beat Holloway, Conor can make a claim to fight for that title. I mean, he definitely could. His last losses were against Dustin Poirier, who that was a while ago. Now he's coming back off of this layoff, beats Max Holloway, who's one of the best in the world still. he could make a claim to go for that title. So I think they're gonna wait before figuring out anything with the lightweight title until after that card. Then if that happens, if Conor wins or Max Holloway does it in a phenomenal way where they decide, you know what, we want to give Holloway the title shot, they might do that. Or there's just so many different things. If I think Ilya should fight the winner of Benoit versus Patty, I think that would make sense. Because they're fighting next month. It's probably going to be a bit of a scrap, and that would hold them both off maybe to be around the same time. And if Patty wins, you get an amazing rivalry fight. If Benoit wins, then that's going to be a scrap no matter what, and it's still a tough test for Ilya. Um, Charles Oliveira versus Arman Sarukian, I could see them doing that. That was going to be the initial plan, I think, for the vacant title if Ilya moved up. But now that there's not going to be a vacant, maybe they make Arman fight again. It sounds crazy, but maybe they make him fight again. If they make Arman fight again before getting the title shot, then I think Arman should fight Ilya. I don't think Ilya should have to fight Benoit versus Patty. I think it would have to be Arman versus Ilya. Um, and that the only reason I don't think there's only two scenarios I think where Arman does not fight for the title next, and that is that if Conor McGregor beats Max Holloway and calls out Justin Gaethje, I think Conor gets the title shot, and if they decide to give it to Charles Oliveira, because if you think about it, Arman since the Charles Oliveira match has fought Dan Hooker and took a little longer to finish him than he probably should have. Looking at Dan Hooker now, I think he took him into like the second round before he finished him, or maybe it was the first. But like Dan Hooker is not a good win for Arman Sarukian. That was just kind of a fight to keep him active, and he's caused all sorts of problems with that headbutt, with backing out of being the backup fighter, with different stuff that he's just been causing problems here. Now he's betting on fights, which I believe is illegal for any fighter to do. So Arman's just causing unnecessary problems. Charles Oliveira, since the Arman loss at UFC 300, has beaten Michael Chandler, beaten Gamrot, or beaten Michael Chandler, lost to Ilya, beat Gamrot, beat Holloway. And beating Holloway, huge win. That's a better win than Hooker. And Gamrot is a better win than Hooker. And Charles Oliveira has two of them. Chandler, yeah, that's not a great win, but when he beat Chandler, it was a better win than it is right now. So I could see them doing Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje too. Charles called out for it, said put the BMF belt and the lightweight title on the line. So that's also a possibility. There's multiple different options for what could happen. You could see Justin versus Arman. You could see Justin versus Charles too. You could see Justin versus McGregor. You could see Justin versus Holloway too. And based on what happens in each of those possible scenarios of who fights who, that could change Ilya to fight Arman next, or to fight the winner of Benoit Patty, or could lead him to fight somebody else. It could lead, if Arman gets the next title shot, Holloway's booked up with McGregor, Benoit versus Patty is happening, and the winner of that should fight Ilya then in that point. I think they should offer Diego Lopez to come up for Charles Oliveira's BMF belt. I mean, Diego's talked about it. He's been a company man. He's in great, exciting fights. If they want to do a BMF belt fight, Diego's got some decent grappling. It could make it for some fun exchanges. He's going to clash with Charles. He's got the chin to deal with it. That could be a BMF title fight, and I wouldn't be complaining if that was the co-main event to like a middleweight title fight or a featherweight title fight, something like that. That would be a pretty fun fight. If in September you told me that Charles Oliveira is going to fight Diego Lopez in the co-main event of Volk versus Evloev for the BMF belt, that would be sweet. And he's been floating that idea around. Diego has, of moving up to fight at lightweight, especially for the BMF belt, especially now that he's lost the featherweight title twice. He's number 2 in the rankings. He's not going to go up anywhere. So if he's going to fight somebody, he's going to have to fight Aljo or Yair. Yair could be an interesting matchup for him because of the bad blood there, but Yair never really wants to fight anymore. So I think it's best if Diego just moves up, fights Charles Oliveira, puts his name in that ring. If Charles doesn't get the title shot, they do. I think it should be, logistically, and likely will be, Gaethje versus Sarukian. I think Holloway will beat McGregor, but McGregor could win it now. The UFC's up on its head right now. Um, but I think if McGregor wins, then maybe he'll want to be active. Maybe him winning could throw everything into a loop. But I think Gaethje versus Sarukian, then Ilya versus the winner of Benoit versus Patty, Charles versus Diego, and then Holloway if he wins, fighting, waiting to fight somebody else, maybe waiting to fight for the title shot or waiting to get a rematch with Ilya, something like that. If Conor McGregor gets the title shot against Gaethje, then you do Armin Ilya, you do Holloway versus Holloway off the loss to Conor, you do against the winner of Benoit versus Patty. I already said Ilya Armin, and then you do Charles Oliveira versus Diego. If Charles Oliveira gets a title shot, same thing. Ilya Armin, then Holloway, um, Holloway versus Benoit or Pimlet's winner, and yeah, it's just a lot of plug and play of that division right now, and it's a very interesting division. Personally, for my own selfish bias, I want to see Charles Oliveira versus Gaethje too, just because Charles beating Holloway like he did, he has a win over the guy who beat Gaethje, and he has a win over Gaethje. Armin has not fought other than Dan Hooker, and yeah, he had a narrow, close fight with Charles Oliveira, but Charles has proven that he's gotten better since then. And then Gaethje also has a win over the guy that just beat Charles, knocked him out in a round. So you never know. It's very interesting at lightweight right now, and it'll be very interesting to see how it shakes out. Wonder when Gaethje's going to get back in there because he doesn't look like he took too much damage. His liver, he said, was hurting because of the body punches from Ilya. So there's a lot of mix up that could happen, and then this changes the perception at welterweight too because now Islam we all know is probably going to be fighting against Ian Machado Gary in August. So if that happens, then you maybe get Prates Morales, JDM versus Bonfim. That kind of stuff shakes out. Kamaru Usman's likely moving up to middleweight, which adds a whole nother layer up there. But Islam Makhachev doesn't have to worry about Ilia Topuria coming up anymore. So welterweights kind of looked like that. Hey, if Islam can beat Gary and then beat the winner of Prates Morales, he might be the greatest of all time, and he doesn't have to worry about defending against an Ilia Topuria. So it's very tricky and it's very tough to look at right now because that just cleared up welterweight, made welterweight a lot simpler. Then you have Volk, who's going to be fighting Mavzar. He already beat Diego twice. Lerone has been beaten. Aljamain versus Yair could happen or Diego could fight Aljo or fight Yair. But I don't know if the UFC is going to want to do an Aljo versus Diego because then if Diego wins, what are you going to do? You're not going to do Diego versus Volk 3. You can't. The fans are memeing it too much. Diego versus Yair, maybe Gene versus Aljo, that could work to kind of add some mixture in there, and then the winner of Aljo versus Gene gets the title shot after the Mavzar one. But then, if Volk beats Mavzar, maybe defends one more time. But if he beats Mavzar and he asks to move up, they might entertain it. They might entertain him versus Gaethje as a potential fight as well. So that could even throw a wrinkle into it. I don't know if they would entertain that really. I feel like Volk, he'll fight Mavzar, and then I think he'll probably fight the winner of a Gene Silva Aljo or Aljo Yair or Gene Yair or Diego versus Aljo, whatever. Some matchup of his contenders to fight him after the Mavzar fight. Yeah, it's a really interesting mix-up at these divisions because now Volk has the potential to move up if he wants to because he doesn't have to worry about Ilya being up there. Bantamweight, Sean O'Malley, he's probably going to hold out until getting a title shot. Maybe fight the winner of Umar versus David Martinez to get the title shot against the winner of Yan versus Merab, especially if it's Merab. I think if Merab beats Yan in the trilogy, then I think Merab will. Then I don't think Sean O'Malley can wait out for a title shot. I think he needs to win one more to earn it. But if Yan wins, then I think Sean O'Malley can hold out and he'll get a title shot. What else happened? Heavyweight and light heavyweight also a little interesting right now because Alex Pereira's probably going to stay at heavyweight and is probably going to fight, if I had to guess, they'll have him fight Josh Hokett. Josh Hokett was building it up this whole week, called out Pereira in his post-fight speech. Pereira coming off of a loss at heavyweight. You could build a huge star off of Josh Hokett again, or you could get Pereira back into the win column with a win at heavyweight, more acclimated in a climate-controlled area, while you do Gane versus Aspinall. Very, very possible. And yeah, so I think that's what's going to happen. I think it will be Hokett versus Pereira. I think it will be Gane versus Aspinall, obviously. And then the winner of those could go up to it. Maybe they do Pavlovich versus Volkov again. And yeah, very, very interesting area of this division. Just, yeah, the UFC got thrown on its head. I mean, you look at the pound for pound list right now: Islam, Ilya, Volk, Pereira, Yan. I mean, Pereira is going to plummet down in those, and Gane is going to be added to it. Justin Gaethje is going to be the number 3 probably. Volk will probably get moved to number 2. Yan will probably get moved to number 3, and then it'll probably be Islam, Volk. I would actually probably say Gaethje, Yan, and then you get Pereira is going to be farther down, probably below. Drickus will probably get moved out. Arman will probably get moved out. And it'll probably be Pereira down there. And like Ilya will probably be at like just above Merab, probably, if I had to guess. So it's going to be very interesting tomorrow to see how those shake out. And now we've lost 2, because we only have 3 undefeated fighters in the rankings now. Josh Hokett, Michael Morales, and Mavzar Evloev. We lost Hamzat and Ilia Topuria in back-to-back months. Just absolutely insane. Went from possibility of having 2 future 3-division champions to now there's nobody that's really even close. Islam has kind of hinted at maybe moving up to fight Strickland, but yeah, divisions are weird right now. Conor McGregor coming back could also add a wrench into like 2 or 3 different divisions here. Just an insane scenario for the UFC right now. After such a blockbuster event, to have Gaethje on top, Pereira lose, just weird right now. I'm personally hoping for Charles Oliveira to get it because I want to see him get the title back, and I think he can beat Gaethje. I think especially the current Oliveira can beat Gaethje. I think Oliveira that went against Ilya, he played it stupid. He knows he played it stupid. He's going to play smart now. He's going to lean on his wrestling, his grappling, strike when he needs to, and cause damage. I think Charles could beat Gaethje, and I would be praying for it to have him win it. But yeah, UFC rankings changed all up. I'll probably do a TikTok to update tomorrow about kind of some of the rankings switches that happen. If there anything super crazy happens, or yeah. So thank you for watching. Let me know who you think should fight who at lightweight and what should be next for Pereira and some of these guys that lost and won on the White House card. And yeah, have a good day and goodbye.